All right, I'm going to try something new on the Empowerista podcast. We're just going to have a chat, like two friends chatting about what's going on during these wild times. And wild times, indeed, they feel like. I don't know about you, but it feels like things were flipped on their head. I mean, things have drastically changed in my world, and I know that they've changed in everybody's world to different extents. For me, the obvious, I'm staying home, working from home. My husband is now home. Our business models have shifted slightly for him, wildly for me. Just to give you a little bit of background on what my business model is. Basically, I help entrepreneurs tell stories. So I have two main types of clients. I have larger clients where I produce videos and content for them. And then I have solopreneur clients where I teach them how to produce videos and content. And as you can imagine, the world has changed, people's needs have changed, people's circumstances have changed, and that has really impacted my clients. And, for the solopreneurs, they're expressing that they don't have the budgets to do the coaching with me right now. For my larger clients, some of them don't have the budget, some of them just simply can't film right now because we can't be in person. So that has put me in a season where I am having to pivot. And I almost said being forced to pivot, which at first it really did feel that way, where I was like, whoa, things are changing so quickly and it feels out of control. And I had a pity party there for a second. But I didn't stay in that place for very long because I am very quickly seeing the opportunity in this season.
Welcome to Empowerista, a show dedicated to helping you show up and be seen as an entrepreneur. I'm your host, Alex Worley, the CEO of Empowerista, an award-winning producer and national TV host, seen on platforms like Entrepreneur.com, Amazon Prime, and Business Rockstars. These are the tips and truths to amplify your influence and income.
Anytime there is a challenging season, there's change, there's so much opportunity to see things differently, to reflect on what has been working, what hasn't been working. When things are working at least just enough, we tend to not question them, right? I had a good thing going, steady income, steady business model. And so why would I question it? It was comfortable, right? Now it's uncomfortable because everything that I felt like I could count on, no longer can I count on it. Or at least, for this period of lockdown, which will be ending soon. But of course, it's not like things are just going to go back to complete normal anytime soon. So anyways, I think what's great about entrepreneurs, and most of you listening are entrepreneurs, is we thrive during uncertainty. That's really what entrepreneurship is, right? It's creating something from nothing. When things are uncertain, a lot is possible. It really breeds creativity and innovation. So that is the outlook that I'm choosing to have. I'm not saying it's always easy. It can, in fact, be very difficult at times. I still sometimes will have like massive moments of doubt where I'm like, what am I doing? Is this ever going to come together? So I just share that because I want you to know that it's never perfect, right? And I don't think doubt ever completely goes away. It's just about being aware of it and managing that doubt and keeping the big picture in mind. And the big picture is that there's opportunity during this time. So let's talk about what that's looked like for me and what that could look like for you. So for me, I first had to examine feedback that I was receiving from my target audiences. And specifically, since I am not doing any video shoots right now, I was really focusing on those solopreneurs that I could serve from the comfort of my home digitally. It started with the feedback of, okay, one-on-one coaching, this price point, it doesn't work, but we still want to learn from you. So I started getting creative and the wheels were turning, and I was thinking, okay, how can I still give this value, but at a price point that would work for them? And spoiler alert, I'll just get to the bottom line of what I ended up creating so you can kind of track my mindset and the process of how I got there, knowing where I got to. So I am currently finishing up writing my ebook. I wrote Confidently on Camera: How to Create Your First Video Series. It's an ebook and it teaches you how to plan and present, produce, publish, and promote your first video series. So I started by examining that feedback, understanding what the problem was, and then that allowed me to get creative around what is the solution. Okay, if one-on-one coaching, if this price point is not a fit, what could be a fit at a lower price point? The second thing was timeliness. So I asked myself, how can I best add value today? What is something that I can really help them with today, given these unique circumstances? It's obviously very timely right now to create videos. People are wanting to market their businesses in more budget-friendly ways from the comfort of their homes. Do-it-yourself videos are a great way to do that. So feedback and then timeliness were the building blocks that kind of helped me get that clarity to what it is that I wanted to create as an offering for my clients. I think a lot of times we think in terms of a big picture, which I actually encourage my clients to think about. It's really, really important to have your bigger vision in mind. Otherwise, you can get what I get a lot, shiny object syndrome, and get pulled in a million different directions. So it's important to know, okay, at the end of the day, what kind of business do you want to create? Who is it that you want to serve? So yes, I think that's important. But I think that there are exceptions to that rule of always keeping your big picture in mind. I think that there are certain seasons, like this one, where things are so uncertain and you almost do have to think more short term of, okay, I don't know what's in store for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now, but I do know that I have this season where I'm going to be at home more, or I'm going to have digital offerings. How can I serve today? I think it's really overwhelming to think so big sometimes, where it's like, what's my purpose? And I feel like sometimes the way you get there is just by taking that small step and then that next step and that next step. And it takes looking at the step in front of you. And for me, in this season, going back to timeliness, the step was, how can I serve today? I don't know if this is how I'm going to serve forever. I don't know if this is my larger purpose. I don't know, if this is what I'm meant to be doing in the world, but I do know that I have time. I am working from home. I need to have a digital offering, and I know I want to serve today. And the beautiful thing in that, what I've found is every single time that I've been in a season where it's just like one foot in front of the other, by movement, by momentum, by just taking action, all of a sudden things start to reveal themselves. I don't think you can think your way to a solution or think your way to your purpose. That reveals itself through taking action. It's in the taking action that I've learned what I do like, what I don't like, where I want to pivot. It's kind of like a puzzle, right? You just put one puzzle piece down and then another one down and then another one, and all of a sudden the big picture reveals itself, right? So I ask myself and encourage you to ask yourself, how can I best serve today given these unique circumstances? And for me, that further clarified, I can create a digital offering like an ebook, teaching the exact same things I teach in my coaching program, but actually writing it in a book and therefore having a more accessible price point. It's $29.99, but on sale right now for $24.99. Shameless plug, go over to confidentlyoncamera.com to pre-order yours today. The last thing I'll mention that helped me decide how I wanted to pivot was thinking about the concept of a minimum viable product that is taught in the book, The Lean Startup. I'll link to it in show notes so you can order a copy if you'd like. But basically, minimum viable product, it means what is the offering, the iteration of an offering that you can create and put out into the world that's going to take the minimum amount of time and budget for the maximum amount of impact and feedback that you can receive from your audience. So an example of this would be if you're creating a website, right? Yeah, you could totally hire a expensive designer and make a $10,000 website that takes 6 months to build and then put it out into the world and see what the feedback is. Or you could create a free version today, start your blog today, imperfect and all, very low to no budget at all, and start putting things, blog posts in this example, out into the world and see what kind of feedback that you get. And then you get a little bit of feedback and then you say, okay, my audience really likes when I include photos. I'm going to include more photos. So then you make that change and then you realize, okay, my audience really likes recipes. I'm going to include more recipes. So the point again is that what is the iteration of your content, your offering that takes the minimum amount of time and budget so you can get it out into the world, into the market as quickly as possible, so you can get feedback as quickly as possible, make those changes, and come up with a better iteration. I knew, again, that I wanted to create a digital offering, and then my mind started going to, okay, do I want that to be a digital book? Do I want that to be a digital course? Do I want that to be audio? I kind of went down, group coaching came to mind. I went down a long list of things that it potentially could be. And I was reminded of this concept of minimum viable product. Now, don't get me wrong, it's taking a ton of time to put this book out into the world. And I am investing in a designer so it looks good. But when I compare how much time it's taking me to create a book compared to how much time it would take me to create a course, for example, it definitely takes less time and less budget to do the book. So I wanted to put out this digital information as quickly as possible so I can serve my audience as quickly as possible. I want a quick win. I want them to get quick wins. And then I'm also going to get this feedback from my audience, and they may go, Alex, hopefully, Alex, we loved the book. I'm actually already getting really great feedback because I'm having some of my target audience read it so I can make edits even before it goes live. Hence, it's in pre-order right now. It's not quite ready. And then as I collect more and more feedback, I can do an even better version too. Or they may say, I would love to see this in a video course format. And then I can create the video course format. Or they may say, hey, I would really love it if you would do an in-person workshop when we can all see each other again, in which case I may do that. So I think you get the point. What's the minimum viable product of your idea that you can create today, and you can always build off of that. And I do plan on building off of that, but it's again thinking about what is the next step in front of me, and the next step that revealed itself to be in front of me was creating this ebook. So I was going to wrap it up, but there's one more thing I want to say. And that is, during this season, some limited beliefs popped up for me. And I know I'm not alone in that. The major one was people don't want to buy right now. Is the belief that I had, because I had some evidence to support that. But that's not true. And the truth is, there are definitely people, I've already sold a bunch of ebooks. So I now have new evidence that people do want to improve their business. They want to grow their business. Of course, they want to grow their business. They want to take this season to learn how to market better, including how to create videos. But I did have to overcome that limiting belief, and this belief that it was all or nothing, that people either wanted to buy or they didn't want to buy. Sometimes the truth is somewhere in between two extreme beliefs. But I share that because I think it's important to examine your limiting beliefs. And yes, I think it is a season where a lot of us have to pivot our careers, our businesses, our lives. A marketer that I really respect, her name's Angie Lee. She says, pivot, don't pause. And I think a lot of the things that cause us to pause are our limiting beliefs. Instead of thinking about possibilities, we're thinking about limitations. So it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with entrepreneurs, that we thrive during times of uncertainty. So know that about yourself. Know that you thrive during times like this. This is the time when your creativity is ignited, when you have the opportunity to innovate. And I really encourage you to not see limitations, but to see possibilities and what's possible for you. So definitely examine what might be holding you back. And I'll leave you with this. If it's feeling hard right now, scary right now, uncertain, and it's difficult for you because maybe you're like me and you like to plan, and it's difficult to do that right now. It's difficult to look 3, 6, 9, 12 months out. I would encourage you to think about what can you do in this season, one step in front of the other. And just to recap some of the things I thought about that helped clarify what that is for me, I looked at feedback that I was getting from my target audience. And I think it's very important to focus on the feedback of your target audience. There are a lot of opinions that will come outside of your target audience that aren't necessarily relevant to what you should be doing next in your business. Then I looked at timeliness. What problem do they currently have that I can solve today? I looked at minimum viable product. How can I quickly solve that problem? I don't need to develop this elaborate product that's going to take me a year to develop. What can I literally get out into the world this season to meet them where they are today? And lastly, as limiting beliefs pop up, because they will, make sure you're aware of them. Make sure that you don't take those extreme beliefs as truth, but you actually examine them and ask yourself, what possibilities am I not looking at? What limitations am I putting on myself where I should actually be looking at possibilities? Because there are so many possibilities right now. And as much as it's difficult sometimes to see them, when I do focus on them, I get excited. I get really excited that there's so much ahead that I don't even see right now, but I really, really believe that things are coming together, like that puzzle that I mentioned. One piece at a time, the big picture is revealing itself.
Well, that's it for today's show. If you're loving this podcast, don't forget to subscribe so we can meet again next week, same time, same place. Thank you so much for listening and have an amazing week.